am Dr. Jesse John, Assistant Professor, Department of Anatomy, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. And today we will discuss anatomy of the female genital system, and we will introduce here all the internal organ of the female genital system. नमस्ते हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया Female reproductive system consists of the internal genital organ, uterus, vagina, fallopian tube, ovary, and external genitalia. This is the vulva. Uterus is a hollow pear-shaped organ with thick muscular wall. In the young nulliparous adult, it measures 8 cm long and 5 cm wide and 2.5 cm thick. Now we will see the parts of the uterus. It is divided into fundus, body, and cervix. Fundus is the part of the uterus that lies above the entrance of the uterine tube, and body is the part of the uterus that lies below the entrance of the uterine tube, and cervix is the narrow part of the uterus. It parts the anterior wall of the vagina and divided into the supravaginal and vaginal parts of the cervix. Now we will see the interior of the uterus. Cavity of the uterine body is triangular in coronal section, but is merely a cleft in the sagittal plane. Cavity of the cervix, the cervical canal, communicates with the cavity of the body through the internal os and with that of the vagina through the external os. Before the birth of the first child, the external os is circular. In a Paris woman, the vaginal part of the cervix is larger and the external os becomes a transverse slit so that it possesses an anterior lip and posterior lip. Now we will see the relation of the uterus. Anteriorly, the body of the uterus is related to the uterovesical pouch and superior surface of the bladder, and supravaginal cervix is related to the superior surface of the bladder, whereas vaginal cervix is related to the anterior fornix of the vagina. Now, body of the uterus is related posteriorly to the recto-uterine pouch that we'll call pouch of Douglas with coils of the ileum or sigmoid colon within it. Laterally, we will see the body of the uterus is related to the broad ligament and the uterine artery and the vein, and supravaginal cervix is related to ureter as it passes forward to the enter the bladder, and the vaginal cervix is related to the lateral fornix of the vagina. Uterine tubes enter the superior lateral fingers of the uterus, and the round ligament of the ovary and of the uterus are attached to the uterine wall just below the level. Now we will see the position of the uterus. Positions of the uterus. In the most women, the long axis of the uterus is bent forward on the long axis of the vagina. This position is referred to as anteversion of the uterus. Furthermore, the long axis of the body of the uterus is bent forward at the level of the internal os with the long axis of the cervix. This position is also termed as the anteflexion of the uterus. Thus, in the erect position and with the bladder empty, the uterus lies in almost a horizontal plane. In some women, the fundus and body of the uterus are bent backward, on the vagina so that they lie in the rectouterine pouch. In this situation, the uterus is said to be retroverted if the body of the uterus is in addition bent backward on the cervix. It is said to be retroflexed. Function: uterus serves as a site for the reception, retention, nutrition of the fertilized ovum. Now we will see the structure of the uterus. Our uterus has three layers which together form the uterine wall. From innermost to outermost, these layers are endometrium, myometrium, perimetrium. Myometrium is thick and made of the smooth muscles supported by connective tissue and mucous membrane lining the body of the uterus known as the endometrium and continues above with the mucous membrane lining the uterine tube and below with the mucous membrane lining the cervix. Endometrium is applied directly to the muscle, there being no submucosa. From puberty to menopause, the endometrium undergoes extensive changes during the menstrual cycle in response to the ovarian hormones, and supravaginal part of the cervix is surrounded by the visceral pelvic fascia, which is referred to as perimetrium. It is in the fascia that the uterine artery crosses the ureter on each side of the cervix. Now we will see the blood supply and the lymph drainage. The arterial supply to the uterus is mainly from the uterine artery, a branch of the internal iliac artery. It reaches the uterus by running medially in the base of the broad ligament. It crosses about the ureter at right angles and reaches the cervix at the level of the internal os. The artery then ascends along the lateral margin of the uterus within the broad ligament and ends by anastomosing with the ovarian artery, which also assists in supplying the uterus. The uterine artery gives off a small descending branch that supplies the cervix and the vagina. Now we will see the vein. Uterine vein follows the artery and drain into the internal iliac vein. Now we will see the lymph drainage of the uterus. Lymph vessels from the fundus of the uterus accompany the ovarian artery and drain into the para-aortic nodes at the level of the first lumbar vertebra. The vessels from the body and cervix drain into the internal and external iliac lymph nodes. A few lymph vessels follow the round ligament of the uterus through the inguinal canal and drain into the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Now we will see the nerve supply of the uterus, sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve from the branches of the inferior hypogastric plexus. So you can see the uterus, the structure of the uterus. Now you will see the supports of the uterus. Uterus is supported mainly by the ton of the levator's ani muscles, ton of the levator ani muscles, and the condensation of pelvic fascia, which form three important ligaments. Levator ani muscles form a broad muscular sheet stretching across the pelvic cavity, and together with the pelvic fascia on their upper surface, they effectively support the pelvic viscera and resist the intra-abdominal pressure transmitted downward through the pelvis. Medial edges of the anterior part of the levator's ani muscles are attached to the cervix of the uterus by the pelvic fascia. Now we'll see the ligaments of the uterus. Round ligament, remnant of the gubernaculum. It runs from the fundus of the uterus inferolaterally to the labia major, joining up with the inguinal ligament about halfway through its course, carries with a vascular supply. The sweeping peritoneum that overlies the ovaries and the uterus anteriorly. Now we will see the part of broad ligament, mesoovarium, that portion of the broad ligament that suspends the ovaries in place. It comes out from the broad ligament and wraps around the ovaries and goes back to the broad ligament on the posterior wall. Now we'll see the mesometrium, the portion of the broad ligament that is associated with the uterus directly. Mesosalpinx, that portion of the broad ligament that directly overlies the fallopian tube. Cardinal ligament, the ligament connecting to the uterus at the level of the cervix. Uterus is covered with peritoneum except anteriorly below the level of the internal os where the peritoneum passes forward onto the bladder. Now we will see the uterus in pregnancy. Uterus greatly enlarged as a result of the increased production of estrogen and progesterone. At first, it remains as a pelvic organ, but by the third month, the fundus rises out of the pelvis, and by the ninth month, it has reached the gyphoid process. Increase in size is largely a result of hypertrophy of the smooth muscle fibers of the myometrium, although some hyperplasia take place. Now we will see the anatomy of the uterine tube, and we will say the fallopian tube also. The uterine tubes, two uterine tubes are each about 10 centimeter long and lies in the upper border of the broad ligament. Each connects the peritoneal cavity in the region of the ovary with the cavity of the uterus. Now we will see the parts of the uterine tube. There is four parts: infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus, and intramural part. Infundibulum is the funnel-shaped lateral end that projects beyond the broad ligament and overlies the ovary. The free edge of the funnel has several finger-like processes known as fimbriae, which are draped over the ovary. Now we'll see the ampulla, and it is the widest part of the tube, and isthmus is the narrowest part of the tube and lies just lateral to the uterus. Intramural part is the segment that fires the uterine wall. Blood supply arteries will be uterine artery that will come from the internal iliac artery and ovarian artery that will come from the abdominal aorta. Veins correspond the arteries and lymph drainage will be into the internal iliac and para-aortic nodes. And nerve supply will be by the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves from the inferior hypogastric plexus. And next part of these female internal organs we will study in the next video. Thank you so much.